Good afternoon. I'm Lisa Girardi with the Chicago Dental Society, and joining me here today for the new exhibitor web briefing is Jefferson Davis from Competitive Edge. And so we welcome you. Thank you for taking the time out of your busy afternoon to participate and watch our webinar with us, and we're here to answer any questions. Please know that new exhibitors are very important to the Midwinter Meeting. We do not want your participation to be a one and done. We want you to keep coming. We want you to interact with our attendees, and we want to make your participation as successful as it can possibly be so that you continue to become a partner of the Midwinter Meeting for many years to come.
All right,
so
Lisa,
if you have any... Go ahead.
Sorry, let's do a quick poll here and find out who's with us today in terms of the exhibitors. And so the poll is going live right now. You'll see there's 4 options. The first one is it's you and your company's first time. The second option is maybe your company has exhibited before, but you are managing the program for the first time, or vice versa. Maybe you've exhibited with another company, but it's the company you're with now, first time, or nope, you and your company have been in the meeting before. And I'll give you just a moment to complete the poll. Make sure it's live. Here we go. Okay. And this will help us kind of tailor our content as we go through today's webinar, depending on how much you know about the show and what we're doing here. All right, we're at almost 80%. I'll give you just another moment. And Lisa, I'm going to show the results here so you can see what the mix is. Here we go. Okay, it looks like almost 60% of us are brand new, so welcome aboard. And some of you have been here with another company, or you've been here before, and then we've got about 12% of you who are not a first-time exhibitor. So we appreciate your participation in the poll. That'll help us tailor the content as we go on. So Lisa, back to you.
So you know, thank you, Jefferson. The Chicago Dental Society doesn't just want to sell you the concrete for your physical booth. We want to educate you and make your participation as successful as possible. So we are here, so feel free to ask us any questions. On our website, we have the Exhibitor ROI Center, which has been created jointly with Jefferson Davis and his company Competitive Edge. And so you'll have direct links to this webinar and previous webinars for the last 2 years, along with many of these very informative workbooks and articles. So we ask that you take a moment and review the content. It will be very helpful. Like I said before, anytime you have any questions or concerns or you don't understand anything that is on our website, feel free to call myself or my assistant Nathan. You'll see our phone numbers and email addresses, and we will answer any questions that you may have. Again, our sole concern is to make you successful. Jefferson?
All right, thanks, Lisa. Yeah, it's a real honor to be part of the Chicago Dental Society's exhibitor success team. I've been around the show for the last few years and on and off over the last 20 plus years. As an exhibitor also, I've worked with the show as an exhibitor, companies I've consulted with. And, you know, as a new exhibitor, you know, you walk into a big show like Midwinter Meeting and there's so much to do. And there's a lot of logistical operational stuff that you have to do to make sure that your booth, your products, your people get there and that everything gets set up and it runs smoothly and you tear it down and send it home. But we want to take you on to some of the strategic things that you really have to do as an exhibitor to make sure you're succeeding. And my background is pretty simple. I've been in trade shows since 1985. And for me, it was never the place to show up, fly the flag, scan some badges, hand out some tchotchkes and go home. I was always in a position where I had to make a dollar do the work of 10. And being a student of marketing, sales, business development, and trade shows, I really wanted to figure out how do you make trade shows deliver big time results. And over 26 years now working as a consultant trainer, the clients I've worked with, we've been able to pull, now we're up to over $800 million in results off trade show floors. So if you want to follow my blog, you'll see it there. If you want to connect for a complimentary teleconsultation, 30 minutes, no cost, no obligation, no sales pitch, give me a call. So let's get started here. Critical success factors. You know, the problem with exhibiting, the challenge, is that the average exhibitor spends 95% of their time on logistics and operations. And that is get the space, get the booth, get the graphics, get the products, get the people, ship it there, fly it there, set it up, tear it down, send it home, do all that on time and on budget, and call that pre-show planning. I call that dealing with logistics. We've got to carve out some time between now and when we arrive in Chicago to deal with critical success factors. Number one is defining your outcomes. And we're going to walk you through that, and we've got exercises and everything to do. Number two is selective attraction. Not everybody that attends the Midwinter meeting is your ideal visitor. And honestly, you don't have the ability to interact with half or even 10% of the people that attend. So you have to decide who are the right attendees, how much is enough, and what are you going to do between now and when you arrive in Chicago so you're in their mind and on their agenda. So we're going to talk about that. And then you've got to manage the visitor experience. The visitor experience really comes down to your booth, the graphics, you know, the visual messaging. It comes down to your product or service presentation and demonstration, and it comes down to your staff. And you have to synchronize the booth, the demo, and the staff so it delivers a quality visitor experience that gets the visitor to commit to a clear next action. And number four, then, whatever orders you write on the show floor are the low-hanging fruit. What you can get over time, if you'll really look at lead management, will blow your mind. So we need to capture high quality, information rich, committed next action leads, and then we've got to have a plan to follow up with them to convert them to business over time. Finally, the fifth critical success factor is measuring. You want to measure two things: your performance. How well did you execute your exhibit, number one, and number two, the value that you received. And finally, you want to learn from the experience. If you're exhibiting properly, you should be getting better and better results from every show you do. So the new exhibitor onboarding program, we created this last year. We want to really kind of take you by the hand and put the right information in front of you at the right time frames in the show execution cycle so you can make sure that you're addressing those 5 factors. So you will be receiving emails on the dates on the screen with written exercises. I strongly encourage you to block an hour of time to get with your sales, your marketing, your exhibit team, and just do these 5 exercises. If you do them, you'll put yourself into the top 10% of exhibitors, not just in the CDS Midwinter meeting, but honestly, in any show that you do. You'll be addressing the critical success factors that really make the difference between whether you make an expensive appearance or whether you make a productive, profitable investment. And that first one, defining your outcomes. Second one, identifying and attracting the right people, visitor experience, lead management, and measurement. Okay, so watch for those exercises. You'll get them by email. They are also accessible on the Exhibitor Success and ROI Center. Okay, on top of that, we've got tools, physical tools that you can download to help you implement what you have learned. There is a exhibit cost control tool, which will help you track all your money and where it's going and compare it to the averages so you know if you're above or below. And there's cost savings tool, cost savings tips built into the tool. Then there's a 16-week planning tool, which is kind of like if you're going to fly to the Midwinter meeting, one of the reasons you'll get there safe is because the pilot has a checklist. right? If the pilot didn't have a checklist, you might land in who knows where, Wisconsin or Arkansas or anywhere, or you might not land at all, right? So download that 16-week planning tool. It blends the logistical operational stuff that you got to do and the strategic stuff that I'm talking about here. And the third tool is the exhibit and financial performance metric tool. This is your scorecard. This is the tool that you'll use shortly after the show to measure how well you executed your exhibit and where and how you got financial value, which is the end game. Now, those are the tools. The exercises are the kind of what do I need to do. The webinars, we've got all these webinars up on the ESRC, which are deeper dives on these critical topics. So you'll have access to the exercises, the tools, and all of these webinars and articles. I'm going to be honest and tell you right out of the gate here that this is pretty much the same type of stuff that when clients hire me directly as a consultant trainer to come in and help them turn their exhibit program around, $10,000 is where it starts. You're getting it free from CDS. There's no sales pitches here. It's purely support. It's purely educational. And it's a proven process I've used over 26 years to pull over $800 million in sales results out of trade shows. So make sure you use it. Next, one of the cool things you're going to get as a new exhibitor and a returning new exhibitor also is the E3 Exhibit Effectiveness Evaluation. I have a team of 8 trade show experts, many of which who are certified trade show marketers. They carry the CTSM designation. During the show, we're going to visit your booth in action, and we're going to score it on 21 factors. And then if we see anything that we think you can tweak or move or change right now, if you're open to it, we'll point it out. And after the show, you'll get a report which has photographs, comments, comparative scoring. You'll know how you scored on these 21 factors relative to the size of exhibit, you know, like an inline, a peninsula, or an island, and the average of all the CDS exhibitors we evaluated. And this is a super productive diagnostic tool that you'll be able to stand off and look at and immediately figure out what's working so you can keep doing it and where your blind spots are and how to fix them. That's the new exhibitor onboarding program. So Lisa, since we've got a lot of new exhibitors on here, let's go back a little bit about the meeting and who attends and some things you might want them to know.
Okay. Well, the Midwinter Meeting is the second largest dental meeting in the United States. We have over 75 countries represented in addition to those dental professionals who practice within the 50 states. We will have, this was the exhibiting number from 2017's meeting, but we have currently 620 companies participating for the 2018 meeting, and we are maxing out our exhibit hall, so the net square footage is correct. Right now, we are running neck and neck with our registration figures as pre-registration began November 1st. At the end of November, we had over 12,000 attendees already pre-registered for the meeting. So we are moving full steam ahead. So we will have, here's a list of our 2017 attendees. Again, the show is open to the profession. We will draw from all 50 states and then, of course, our 70 countries. So we will have a greater number of attendees. We typically get about 7,000, 7,300 dentists who will come to Midwinter Meeting. But if that's not the only target market that you're looking for, we do average about 4,000 hygienists and 3,000 assistants. Plus then, because it's not the year of the IDS meeting in Germany, we expect our international dental trade attendance to increase as well. So at the end of the show, you will get a list of the categories and how many people actually participated. That'll be sent to you by me through email. What do our attendees want? We always query our attendees and ask them to fill out surveys to find out ways that we can improve the Midwinter Meeting so that we can pass that information on to you because we know you're not just coming to see me when you come to Chicago in February. So we want to make it successful for both our attendees and our exhibitors. So we publish and promote the new products that we have at Midwinter Meeting. And so as new exhibitors, all of your products fall into that category. Last week I did send you an email where we are offering to promote on our mobile app new products and show specials that you're offering. We hope that you take advantage of it because, like I said, all of your products would be new. You can list many more, but we're highlighting the top 3 of both new products and show specials for all of our exhibitors. So we want you to take advantage of that. For pre-show information, if your budget supports it, we have a virtual trade show bag which has a tile on our mobile app, which is emailed to all of our Midwinter Meeting attendees a week before the meeting, so that the tiles cost about $350, and they can be anywhere between coupons, videos, static images, just promoting your product. Again, we limit it to 25 tile placements. So if you are interested, you received an email from me about 2 weeks ago with that show opportunity. So if you have any more information or want any more information, feel free to give me a call. Our attendees, they plan ahead. We do list, we do have the virtual floor plan on our website currently. That was posted November 1st to coincide with when pre-registration began. And they are able to look at the new products and show specials or the information that you list as your generic products. So when I sent you that email to update your virtual booth space, their attendees are looking at that now and have been looking at that on November 1st. Most of you who have completed your interactive application and put in your company profile and your generic list of products, that's already listed, but you can go in through the exhibitor portal and update that, and once you hit save, it is live. So again, I encourage you to go ahead and do that because that virtual floor plan is what feeds the information directly to our mobile app, and our mobile app will be available in a few weeks. For first-time exhibitors, I encourage you to go to the ROI Center and take advantage of all of the information that Jefferson has been talking about. I also suggest that you take an opportunity to look at the exhibitor prospectus, pay careful attention to deadlines. With that, I mean you need to take advantage of the discounted prices that the Midwinter Meeting vendors in the exhibitor service kit are offering you, because those prices will go up in mid-January. So if you have selected not to participate in the discounted booth decor package that the Society offers you, where we provide carpeting, a table, chairs, electrical as a basic package for either $600 or $1,200 depending on the package, I strongly suggest that you take a look at the other decoration and other items that are available through the service kit. So that is online too. I will be following up with all of you with an email to give you, again, direct links, just in case any email that I have sent you went to spam. That will be going out on Friday so that you can start to take advantage, because I know once the holidays kick into full gear, you'll be very busy. Again, if you have any questions, you can always email me or my assistant Nathan, or give us a call. I do respond to my emails as soon as I see them so that I can help you just move along in your day.
All right, Lisa, thank you. If there are any questions, any specific questions at this moment, kind of show specific questions that would be Lisa could help you with, now would be a good time to submit those questions. And I'll give you a moment to see if you have any. I'll take a look in the queue. We've got one question in. This one looks like it's in my wheelhouse. For a 10 by 10 booth, how many people would you suggest work the booth? The staffing rule of thumb is 50 square feet per staffer. So if you have a 10 by 10 booth, you're going to want to have minimally two full-time equivalents. That means, there's two people in your booth pretty much at all times. The biggest mistake that a lot of small exhibitors make is they'll understaff their booth. They'll have one person, and if that one person takes a lunch break or a restroom break and they leave the booth, then they leave the booth empty. And that's a big mistake because you never know who's going to pass your booth. So I would recommend having a minimum of two and probably a third one that you rotate in to keep your staff fresh. The show hours can be long and it's physically hard work. So make sure that you have enough of the right people. And so keep the questions coming. We'll come back to the queue as we move through the webinar. And again, if you have show questions, Lisa's here to answer. If you have trade show productivity questions, I'm here to answer also. Okay, so let's move forward into sometimes the easiest way to succeed is to find out what people that struggle and fail are not doing or the mistakes that they're making. So I want to share with you 10 big exhibitor mistakes that you really want to pay attention to and try not to make because they will cost you. As Lisa mentioned, the first one is failure to really read and digest the exhibitor services kit. There's a lot of stuff in there, we know that, but you got to go through there and look at all of the forms and all of the information and the rules and the regulations and the things that relate to you, and make sure you pad your dates. So if you have an order form that's due on, let's say, like Friday, December 22nd, don't wait till the 22nd to deal with it. What happens if, the internet's down or you're out sick or something happens? So give yourself, pad your deadline dates. Put 3 to 5 days ahead for it to flash so you know to handle it. And as Lisa mentioned, those deadline dates, when you miss a order deadline date, on average, it's going to cost 30% more. So do not miss those deadline dates. It's expensive. Second is unrealistic expectations. Just kind of coming into the show and thinking, hey, I just got to roll my booth out there and sit down behind a table and I'm going to have a packed booth and I'm going to write hundreds of orders and I'm going to get hundreds of leads. We got to make sure that your expectations are in line with reality. The exercise on defining your outcomes will help you do that. Not only will it take you through the process of reasons to goals, it will also help you calculate the potential sales opportunity for your company. So we got to make sure that your expectations are in touch with reality here. Number 3, the failure to set goals. Everybody has reasons. I'm amazed at how few exhibitors have goals. Like if I ask, why do you exhibit? You'll say, oh, for brand awareness, to get some leads, to write some orders. And those are fine, but they're reasons. They're not goals. If you had a goal and I asked, why are you exhibiting? And you would say, to capture at least 40 qualified leads by closing time. That's a goal, okay? And I really want you to try hard to move from vague reasons to specific, measurable, actionable goals, which our exercise will help you do. Number 3, this is a big show, okay? This is a huge show, and the average attendee is not stopping at every booth. I would be surprised if they're stopping at a third of them. You have got to do something before and at the show to let people know you're going to be there and give them a reason to come see you, right? So the failure to pre-market their exhibit is one of the biggest mistakes exhibitors make. You don't want to do what I call exhibiting by hope. That means renting space, showing up, and hoping that enough people pass your booth, notice it, and stop. Pre-marketing is not a maybe. It's not a, oh, if I could find the time or the money. I view it as a critical success factor, okay? Number 5, your overall exhibit. You've got to stand outside of your exhibit through the eyes of a dentist, a office manager, a hygienist, or like an assistant, and you got to make sure your exhibit works. Your exhibit has to grab attention. It's got to quickly answer what you do, why they should care, who you are. It's got to be easy to enter, and you've got to have something for the visitor to do in your booth. Attendees come to trade shows to physically interact with products, services, people, and companies. The number one way they want to engage with exhibits is through interactive presentations and demonstrations in the booth. So we got to look at your exhibit and make sure the design, the messaging, the interactivity, the layout, everything's working. Number 6, give careful thought to the product or service presentation. Okay, how do you engage? You know, some of you market services. You know, I was at the CDS show, I think it was 2 years ago, and there was a company there that was marketing financing services. And, you know, they were struggling, and they were like, how do we, you know, what will we do to engage someone around services? Well, first of all, I would have a sign in my booth that said, hey, buying equipment at the show, should you lease or should you purchase? Lease, finance, or purchase? And then I would maybe do a little, you know, pros and cons of the 3. You know, so you got to think very carefully through, what is my product, what is my service, how do I get the visitor to physically and mentally engage and interact with it. Number 7, you can do all that stuff right. Those first 6, you can avoid all of those. But if you don't have enough staff, or if your staff is looking or acting like they don't want to be there, or if they're too aggressive, or if they're too passive, or if they're making many of the mistakes that booth staffers make, the wheels can come right off the wagon right there. So we got to make sure that our staffing is done properly. Number 8, big mistake, taking down your booth before the show closes. Not only is it against show regulations, and it can cause you to be uninvited back next year, but it's a great disservice to exhibitors around us, and also for the dental professionals who are still on the show floor. So if the show is open from 9 to 5, your exhibit is open 9 to 5, right? Not 9 to 4. Number 9, only focusing on the low-hanging fruit. If you're selling a product or service like instruments and stuff that they can buy here at the show, and not capturing leads and not following up, or worse yet, taking leads and not following up. Not only does that limit and prevent your return on investment, but it also impacts the show attendees' experience in the exhibit hall. And if they're not getting value from their time in the hall, they're not going to want to spend more time there. So we as exhibitors play a really big role. So here's the rule. If you're going to take a lead, follow up on it. If you're not going to follow up on the lead, look the person in the eye and say, hey, based on what you told me, I don't think we're a match here, and direct them somewhere else. And number 10, evaluating the value of the show at closing time. I don't think, honestly, there's any practical, prudent, realistic way that you can judge the ultimate value of an exhibit at closing time, or for that matter, even from one attempt. If the dental industry is important to you, if, as Lisa said, they come from all over the U.S. to go to the Midwinter Meeting, you're in the right show. And it's just a matter of staying the course, learning from each show, getting better and better, and before you know it, there will come a day when you'll look back and go, wow, what a difference one show can make. So take these 10 mistakes as guideposts, warning signs of things to avoid. Try not to fall on the wrong side of any of these 10, because any one or combination will limit your results. Okay, so let's talk trade shows for a minute. Some keys here to getting the most. Number 1, at the end of the day, when you strip a trade show down from the lights and the products and the displays and the noise and the motion, what are you really buying here? What you're really buying here is face-to-face contact. And so your ultimate success is going to really come down to how well you put your company identity, your people, your products, and your services face-to-face with the right people to exchange information that gets a commitment to a clear action on the part of the visitor. Trade shows to me are really about face and next. Face and next, right? Number two, we talked about this goal thing. You've got to move from general reasons to SMART goals. And the defining your outcomes, downloading the planning tool will help you do that. You should minimally walk into a show like this with 3 SMART goals. 1 in the area of sales, 1 in the area of marketing, and 1 in the area of customer relationship management. And if you'll use the tools we're giving you, you'll have that figured out. Calculating your potential sales opportunity. You might want to grab a pen here. This is a really cool process to help you figure out what this opportunity looks like for you. And I do want to stress that this is a formula we use. It's not a guarantee of your individual results because there's so many different factors, but I use this with every one of my exhibiting clients. And when the numbers are right, it is amazingly accurate. So here we go. Number 1, it starts with the number of exhibiting hours in the show. So we have 24 exhibiting hours. Then you add how many people are going to be staffing your booth on average over those 24 hours. So I have, now I've got to think about what's my target number of interactions per hour per staffer. 3, conservative. 4, moderate. 5 is aggressive. So I have 24 hours. I have 2 booth staff in that booth, all 24 hours, and their target is 3 interactions per hour per staffer. I have the capacity for 144 interactions. Now my job's starting to get pretty easy here, right? So it doesn't matter if the show has, 28,000 attendees or 7,300 dentists. For me to win, all I got to do is attract and interact with 144 of the right people. Okay, now, if you're writing orders at the show, some percentage of those will convert to an at-show order. I'm going to start with a target of 2 out of 10. That would give me an at-show order of 29 orders. Then I'm going to jot down my average order. And again, this will vary for everybody on this call, but let's say your average order is $2,500. Now, my at-show order goal becomes $72,000 by closing time. My booth staff knows now that their job is to interact with 3 dental professionals on the average hour, and that 2 out of 10 of those interactions convert to our minimum or average order. Now, remember I said it's not over when the doors close. So some percentage of people you interact with are going to convert to a lead. 1 out of 4 is a very safe starting target. So in this example, I'm looking for 36 qualified leads by closing time. Not all of those leads are going to convert to business. Some percentage will. I think you've got to look at that number and ask, what is a conservative, realistic number? 2 out of 10 leads convert over time. That would mean 7 of my leads convert to orders. With my average or minimum order of $2,500, look at this. $17,500 in post-show orders, $89,500 is the potential sales up. And if you change any of the variables in this formula, the results change. Okay, so I would ask you to get together with your sales team and sit down and do this exercise. And again, keep in mind, there's a lot of factors that are going to determine, the quality of your products, salability, what you do to market to drive traffic, your booth staff, the strength of your offer, and there's other factors that are going to impact this. But this is amazingly accurate as long as the numbers you're using are accurate. Now imagine some of you are going to have questions on this formula. So take a moment if you do, go to your question queue and type them in right now. All right, let's keep going. Key number 3. Sometimes we don't get what we want from shows because we're not investing enough resources. The budgeting rule of thumb as a starting point is floor space times 3. So if you have $3,300 into your floor space rental cost, minimally your budget should be $9,900. Ideally, if you really want to win the game, I would go floor space times 5. That way I've got a little extra money to do the things that other exhibitors aren't doing. Next, remember we talked about don't just rent space, show up and hope. You know, attendee behaviors have changed. 3 out of 4 of them pre-planned their visit. At the North American Average Business-to-Business Trade Show, they only stop at 26 to 31 exhibits, and half of those stops are pre-planned. So you do not want to exhibit by hope. Pre-marketing your exhibit is critical. Not only do you have an exercise, selective attraction, which will help you work through this, there's a complete webinar on the ROI Center called Driving Qualified Booth Traffic. I would do both. I would download the exercise, I would watch the webinar, and make sure that you do what you got to do before the show. There's several free marketing opportunities available through CDS, from your online listing, right, to the product locator, to the exhibit guide. Spend some time writing your listing. Don't just write, well, we sell this and that. Give them a reason. Tell them what the experience in your booth is. If you have show specials, mention it. Take some time and write a good exhibitor listing. Most exhibitors do not put much effort, and yet it's a very powerful marketing tool. Your company name and your booth numbers listed in the official program and the exhibit hall guide. If press kits can be displayed in the media press office, you have a complimentary digital booth, which can be podcasts, new products announcements, show specials, and that shows up both on the show website and on the mobile app. It's free. Make sure you use it. And be sure to get involved in and leverage the Midwinter Meeting social media, Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn. And as Lisa mentioned, you got questions on any of this, her and Nathan are there. Just pick up the phone, call them, and they'll be happy to walk you through this. Number 5, your exhibit. We talked about this. It's got to grab attention. You know, we often think just because we set up a booth that everybody that passes it sees it. They don't. We might also think that everyone who passes it processes it. By process, I mean they go, what do you do and why should I care? They don't. You've got to make sure your exhibit grabs attention. You've got to quickly answer the 3 questions in the attendee's mind. What, why, and who? What do you do? Why should I care? Who are you? Right? No tables across the front. Make it easy for people to enter, move around your booth, and exit. Think about your space exactly like a retailer thinks about their store. They know that window shoppers, people that walk up, look in the window, and walk by, don't buy. They do whatever they can do to get them into the store, get attendees into your store, okay, and make it easy for them to physically interact. Number 6, visibility of your exhibit. There's 6 ways to really make it stand out. Lighting, imagery, clear and informative message, creative use of audio visual, something to do in the booth, and a proactive booth staff. We've got another webinar replay up. It's called Meeting Dental Professionals' Needs through in-booth demos and presentations. It's totally worth a view. It'll show you how to put together an effective in-booth presentation. Number 6, for people, make sure they're friendly, make sure they're standing up, smiling, look like they want to talk to people. Be proactive. Don't just wait and hope that people notice your booth. Get on the perimeter and greet them. Know your stuff. Ask questions. It's not what you tell, it's what you ask. Find out who you're talking to. Learn about their practice. Learn about what they're doing in your area of expertise. Find out what their problems, needs, their pain points are. When you do start talking about your product services, keep it short and to the point, and be sure to take good information and get a commitment to a next step. Some tips for working the show: be in it and have somebody available to talk to visitors every minute you're open. Smile and greet people, and really take the time to think through your questions. What is it that I should be asking visitors? Think time to create your company story. How do I quickly position my company? Analyze your products and think about what the key messages are. And we've talked over and over about getting more information and getting commitment from the visitor. Number 7, remember we talked about leads. The quality of a lead is equal to the clarity of what happens next and the visitor's agreement to take that next step. Okay, and move fast with your follow-up or in line with when the visitor requests it. Be sure to reference the conversation in the booth and use multiple media when you follow up. And most importantly, would be think through your follow-up plan before you get to the show. If you wait until you get home and you've been out of the office for 5-6 days and all this other work is piled up, and a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month goes by, it's going to reduce the post-show return on investment. Got a whole webinar up for you on lead management, and that's also one of your exercises in your new exhibitor onboarding. Number 8, measurement. Don't just count what you spent, count your results over time. And we've built a financial performance tool, and there's an exercise for you on measuring your performance, so make sure you use it. Number 9, learn. You should be getting better and better from every show you do. You should never do a show exactly the same way twice, always improving, right? So make a little bit of time to go out and walk the exhibit hall. You know, that's why having an extra person is good. And notice booths that are rocking. Notice booths that are busy. And what are they doing in that booth that's making it work? If you have the ability to attend educational sessions that relate to your products, your services, do it. Be where the buyers are, right? Don't just go have dinner with your team at night. Find out where the dentists and the hygienists and the practice managers, the social events, the networking events. Work the morning before it opens. Work the evening after it closes. And use that measurement tool because it's like a post-show report. It'll help you find the lessons so you can do better and better and better at your next show. And remember, it takes time, okay? So be patient. What you get this year from the show as a new exhibitor and what you'll get 3 years from now, if you're doing this right, will blow your mind. If you learn, if you use what you learn, you stay committed, there will come a day when you'll look back and go, wow, what a difference one trade show can make in my life. So let's get ready for an incredibly positive, profitable experience. The table's set for you. This is a totally effective opportunity. With CDS, Lisa, Nathan, you have got a team that cares about you. They're giving you the resources, the support, and the access. You can be as successful as you want to be and are willing to work to be. And remember, it's not what you heard here today that's going to matter. It's going to come down to what you do. Knowledge in and of itself is not power. Knowledge intelligently applied is power. And if you use the resources both on the ROI Center and the new exhibitor onboarding, you're on your way. You're going to have an incredible show, but you got to do your part, okay? We're doing everything we can do on our end, but we can't do it for you. So with that, I'm going to take a look in the question queue, and while I do, Lisa, any closing thoughts or comments or additions to what we've talked about?
Well, I just wanted all of our exhibitors to know that CDS again is providing one complimentary or free lead retrieval license. We've made an arrangement with our registration company, and we have sent each one of you a link for you to accept the free license, so that while you're at the show, whatever mobile device that you choose to use, you can scan the barcodes on the badges for our attendees for during the show to help you with your post-show follow-up. So if you can't recall if you got the email, please let me know and I'll be happy to resend it. It is unique to each exhibitor, so I will be happy to resend it if it went to spam or you don't recall receiving it. But again, it's a free complimentary license for lead retrieval license to use on a mobile device.
Oh, nice. That's a big savings. You know, typically it's a $300 to $500.
It's like $375.
And so it's basically free. So jot that down, everybody. Make sure to use that. Got some questions, and many of these look in my wheelhouse, Lisa. If I see ones that are show, I'll give them to you in a moment. Well, this first one looks like it might be in your wheelhouse. The exhibitor asks, can we get contact information of pre-registered attendees?
We do make mailing lists available that if you want to do any type of pre-show promotion, email is not available, and that is by a decision from the board of directors. I have a board who makes these rules to follow. So but we do have addresses that you could certainly send your direct mail piece to, or like I said, if you were interested, we have the virtual trade show bag, or we have what we call our CDS ad pack. It's limited to 12 inserts, where that goes directly from us to all of the pre-registered attendees for the Midwinter Meeting. We do the mailing in mid-January to get as many pre-registrants as possible. Typically, we mail out about 16,000 pieces so that the attendee would have your card in hand well before the meeting.
Okay, thanks. Lisa, here's another question I think's in your wheelhouse. Are exhibitors invited to attendee social events?
Yes, when you register your booth staff, you will see next to each name you can add on to social events. Our opening session, our Friday night event at the Theater Park West. So you're certainly welcome. It's a cooking demonstration at the meeting, but you're certainly welcome. We've been extending that invitation to our exhibitors for well over 10 years to invite them to any of the social activities that the Society puts on during the meeting.
Nice, yeah. So make sure everybody listening that you take the time to look at the entire schedule of events and, the exhibit hours for sure, but also where these social events are happening, and go to those events and network. It's a tremendous opportunity, to get people when they're in a more relaxed setting. Next question, Lisa, on lead retrieval, typically are the phone numbers included?
Yes, it picks up the demographic information that the attendee or the payer of an office will put on his registration form. And I believe email addresses are carried in the lead retrieval because the attendee, when they allow you to scan their badge, they're giving you permission to contact them. So all of their information that they put in their registration form would be included in that.
Okay, excellent. Wow, we got a bunch of questions, got a super engaged audience here, so let me go with a few. Someone's asking me how many people do you think will visit our 10 by 10 booth? There's so many variables on that. What I want you to do is use the exhibit interaction capacity formula. Number of show hours times number of staff times a target of 3 to 5 interactions per hour per staffer. 3 is conservative, 4 is moderate, 5 is aggressive. And that'll tell you what your interaction capacity is. And then to make sure that you get good booth traffic, make sure that you do pre-show marketing, number one, get that pre-registered attendee mailing list, drill it down to the types of practices and the job functions or specialties, whatever makes sense for you. Although you don't get email with the pre-reg list, that's not a bad thing, because everybody's getting so much email today that it's almost like junk. It's a good time to get back in the mailbox. Hardly anybody's there, so you want to be where the competition is. But what I will say to the person who asked the question about how many people will visit your booth, if you run your exhibit interaction capacity, which I taught you and is in the exercise, you do good pre-marketing, you have a well-designed booth, and you have a proactive staff, just stand up, greet, and smile and greet people, and you'll get a lot of traffic at the show. Okay, let me see. Next question. What are some good examples to let people know we'll be at the show beforehand? I would use as many media as I could. That would include your exhibitor listing, the mobile app. That would include the digital. That would include email, direct mail, social media. I'm going to refer you to view the marketing webinar because it's a deep dive on that single topic of how to put together an integrated marketing campaign. Next question, I've seen this from time to time. What's your opinion on hiring models? If you're talking about booth babes, which is what the lingo is, it's pretty much 1980s. Today you want to be professional. Now that being said, there are companies, trade show talent companies, that do rent professional staffers who look good but can also be professional and greet people. So err on the side of conservative business professional when it comes to staffing. You'll never go wrong. You don't want to have booth babes per se, as we would call them there. Let me see. Where do we find this question? I'm not sure where do we find the in-booth design guide you mentioned? I don't recall mentioning the guide outside of the exercise, which is designing, and we have what's called standout exhibit reports, which are up on the ROI Center. These are photographs of booths at the last few years of CDS that rocked, and there's captions about what made these booths so effective. So go to the ROI Center, look for the standout exhibit report, and you'll get a lot of ideas on how to create a booth that works. Next question. Could you give some examples for measurable marketing goals? Yeah, here we go. To attract at least 144 of these types of dentists in these types of practice, to have at least 3 interactions per hour per staffer, to convert 2 out of 10 visitors to written orders, to convert 1 out of 4 visitors to a qualified lead, to generate at least $50,000 in new business by closing time, stuff like that. So go through the exercise on defining your outcomes, and it will teach you what we call the SMART goal acronym: specific, measurable, actionable, realistic, and time-bound. Okay, someone's asking, do I have examples of good exhibitor listings? And Lisa, where does the exhibitor fill out their listing? Where do they do that?
They'll go to our website, and under the Information for Exhibitor tab, there is something called the 2018 Exhibitor Login. If you click on that link, it's going to be an alphabetical list of exhibitors. You're going to search for your name, your corporate name, and you're going to put in the 5-digit password that I provided you. That 5-digit password, by the way, is your account number with the society. So if you have a copy of your invoice, it will appear on that if you can't readily find it, or you can call Nathan or myself and we'll be happy to give it to you. And then it'll take you right into the exhibitor portal, where you will be able to upload your company logo, your exhibitor profile, any podcasts, your social media links, and then this way, once you hit save under each one of the tabs, then it automatically is saved to the digital floor plan that's available for the attendees to view. So don't go into the exhibitor floor plan that's under the Information for Exhibitors tab, because even though we use the ExpoCAD tool, there are 2 different floor plans. You want to go to the virtual exhibit hall to see your listing after you've added it through that portal.
Okay, thank you. We've got a question on examples of good exhibitor listings. We have an article, a new one we published this year, called How to Rewrite Your Exhibitor Listing. So I want you to go to the Exhibitor ROI Center and read the article. It'll walk you through how to actually write a listing that works, and it'll give you a great example of what an effective exhibitor listing looks like. Let's see. Oh, someone's asking, will we have a booth number we can tell people to visit ahead of time?
Oh, absolutely. Each exhibitor received a booth confirmation from me. If you can't remember your booth number, please give me a call or send me an email, and I'll send you what your booth number is. You can also find it on the floor plan. And I was going to suggest that in any promo that you do for your participation in the Midwinter Meeting, even on your own website, let your own customer base know that you're coming to Chicago Dental Society and what booth number you'll be at. This way, you're reinforcing your participation with any of your clientele, as well as any new attendee that will be stopping by your booth.
Okay, thanks, Lisa. This next question goes 2 ways. It's, will we still need to take information the old-fashioned way or just the scanned way? You can go both. You know, I kind of definitely recommend, since you're going to get a free lead retrieval app for your smartphone, absolutely use that. The badges will be embedded with data. All you have to do is scan it to capture. But you can also take business cards, and as the example I showed you earlier, you can create a lead card. And so you could really have all 3 go on. You could take business cards, you could have a lead card, you could use the electronic capture device. So you could use all 3. And I would refer the person asking that question also to watch the lead management webinar on the Exhibitor ROI Center, because it's a deep dive on how to improve lead management. All right. Well, this has been a great webinar, a tremendous level of engagement from exhibitors. I really want to thank everybody for coming out today. Let today be a beginning, not an end. The Exhibitor ROI Center is literally like your 24/7, 365 exhibiting MBA. Almost any challenge that you're facing in exhibiting, you're going to find the answers on the ROI Center. And so on behalf of my company, Competitive Edge, I want to thank you for logging in. Lisa, any closing comments from the Chicago Dental Society?
Well, we thank you for choosing the Midwinter Meeting to exhibit at, and we look forward to working with you, and we wish you a very happy holiday season.
Same here. Thanks, everybody. We will see you doing the exercises, downloading the tools, and before you know it, we will see you in Chicago. So also have a wonderful holiday season. We'll see you again soon. Thanks for logging in.